Hello and welcome back to another video on the rest of the debate and to another edition of NXT Out of 10. And yeah, it is a big show today because it's the last NXT with all of the superstars who have been called up for the draft. There is a lot of them. I think it's like 17 or 18 or like something like that, so quite a high number. So yeah, there's lots going on, and we kicked off with a recap of the draft before we headed for our first title match, which was Wesley versus Drew Gulak. Charlie Dempsey and Tyler Bate were ringside to support Gulak, and Lee and Dempsey got involved early on, letting Gulak hit a big sunset flip for a near fall. Wes was then caught in a cobra twist but fought out of it before getting a drop kick. Dempsey then dragged Wes outside and Tyler got involved and took him out. Back in the ring, Lee got an uppercut and a big handspring tackle followed by the cardiac kick to pick up the win. And yeah, this gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Really good match as you might expect. Didn't want Tyler Bate at ringside. I wanted him to have a more prominent role. But yeah, for this match alone, it was really good. Of course, it was between two of the most talented wrestlers on the brand, really. Wesley continues his title reign going. And yeah, still kind of like all the stuff they're doing, the student roles and stuff like that, they're doing Drew Gulak. So yeah, that's all good stuff as well. So yeah, good stuff, 7 out of 10. Women's tag champs Alba and Isla Dawn, and then a short promo and said they plan to leave NXT with the titles before Trick Williams was out next and said that Bron Breaker's attack last week put Mello Hayes in hospital. He talked about how he and Mello went to the same high school and had a lot of history together. Trick said he wanted revenge before Bron walked out. Bron said he didn't want to accept Mello to have the championship and accepts his challenge for Battleground. Breaker was walking out, but Trick called him out and wants the match. Bron said that he would fight on his own time and set up a match for next week before walking out. And yeah, that's definitely going to be a good match, all kind of leading up to the main event. Surprised that Bron wasn't really in the draft, but you know, continuing his storyline, maybe we'll see a call up for him maybe around sometime or something like that. But yeah, definitely into this story. Like I say, I think Bron kind of has been revitalised by this heel role. So yeah, good stuff. Gigi Dolan versus JC James, our next match. Jane got a big takedown before Gigi came back with a big boot and got a takedown for a near fall. Dolan then sent Jane into the barricades and the steel steps outside before JC was busted open and bleeded heavily from the face. They were then fighting near the ropes and JC got driving shoulder into Gigi into exposed steel before getting the pin. After the match, JC beat Gigi down and stomped on her head while taunting Broden's brother who was in the front row. And yeah, this gets 7 out of 10 from me. This was good stuff. I think kind of a good way to finish off the storyline between these two. I don't know if it will go any further or not. We'll have to see. But yeah, this was a good match. And yeah, it kind of does feel like a well-rounded storyline now. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. But still intrigued to see if they continue or not. Axiom v Scripps was up next. Scripps attacked Axiom before the bell, and after the match started, Axiom took control. Axiom was sent outside before Scripps got a big corkscrew flip and took him out. Back in the ring, Axiom tried for a sleeper hold before Scripps dodged the golden ratio. Axiom cancelled the 450 splash with a super kick before getting the golden ratio for the W. Axiom held Scripps to his feet after the match, but the latter went for a cheat shot. Axiom fired out strikes of his own and ripped Scripps' mask off, kicking him in the face and revealing it to be Reggie. I think we kind of all knew this already, but yeah, I mean, kind of a good time to reveal Reggie. I think kind of got over that now, so yeah, makes sense too. Good match, and yeah, interesting dynamic. I guess maybe it's leading for Wwenxt for the feud to continue, but yeah, this was good stuff. Get 6 out of 10 from me. Fallon Henry and Josh Briggs were then at the bar when Brooks Jensen walked in. Jensen was still apologetic before going after them, but the trio were back together. Jensen had picked out some business skills during his time with Kiana and even turned down some girls at the bar to spend time with his friends instead. So yeah, that story continues. Before it's time for Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough. Lee was in control early on when Noah Dahl came out with a Heritage Cup and a distraction allowed JD to take control. Lee dodged a slide in the corner and JD went straight into the ring post before he was sent outside. Back after a break, Lee got a big runner and a dive to the outside before they traded shots on the apron. Lee then got a knee strike before JD dropped him on the apron but hurt himself in the process. Lee came back with a knee and a poison runner in the ring before getting a near fall off the powerbomb. On the top right, JD got a massive Spanish fly and a brainbuster. Lee countered the devil inside with a big suplex of his own. No one came in with a distraction and got taken out by JD before the devil inside and picked out the win. After the match, Lee attacked Dart and chased him off backstage. And yeah, it gets 7 out of 10 for me. This was a really, really good match, I have to say. Two of the best wrestlers on the roster. JD ending his stint on NXT with Dragon Lee in a really great match. Yeah, it kind of just felt right. Dragon Lee taking a loss here, but I think just the quality of the match, it won't really harm him too much either. Next up on NXT, it was Joe Gacy versus Joe Coffey. Coffey was in control early on and almost got the win, but Fowler and the Dyad got involved and broke the pin. Gallus chased after the Dyad before Raver got in the ring and pretended to be knocked down, distracting the ref, while Gacy came in with his finisher to pick up the win. And yeah, it kind of gets a 5 out of 10 for me. This was quite short, and yeah, really didn't do much for Joe Coffey, which I kind of wanted to see here because we know how great he is, and to get him all over to the NXT universe. Now it's kind of like they're free members now, Gallus. So yeah, it didn't really work for me here. here, I have to say, unfortunately. 5 out of 10 from me. Danny Palmer versus Taysom Paxley was up next. Newcomer Danny Palmer started strong and got some reversals early in the match before locking in a side headlock. Paxley escaped the hold and hit a big German suplex for a near fall. Taysom then went for a submission move in the ring, but Palmer got out of it and took Paxley down before hitting her with a frog splash for the win. And yeah, it gets a 5 out of 10 from me once again. I don't know, it was fine, but yeah, just didn't really do much for me. But yeah, still excited to see what Palmer can do going forward. But poor Tatum. While Andre Chase was injured, Duke Hudson slowly took over Chase U and even thought about renaming it to Duke University. So yeah, you still feel like a split is very much incoming. Von Wagner showed off his old photos to Robert Stone, and they came up upon some baby photos of Von, but Wagner refused to talk about them and walked away. Very weird segment, but yeah, still kind of intrigued where it's going. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter was up next for the women's tag titles. The team started brawling before the bell, and Chance brought Fire back into the ring before the match officially began. The Chance isolated Chance early on, but Carter came in off the tag and sent the Chance outside before the challengers hit them with big dives. Back after a break on NXT, Dawn got a near fall off a double team move on Chance. Katana came back with a code breaker and tagged Carter in for a dive, but Alba broke up the following pin. The challengers got another near fall off a double Spanish fly before Fire used Katana to take down Carter, and the Champs took out Katana with a double team move before Dawn got the win. And yeah, it gets a 7 out of 10 from me, this one. It's a really good match. Obviously, it's a bit of a weird one because both of these teams are going to be on the main roster this time next week. So yeah, what they're going to do with the women's tag belts, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's intriguing nonetheless. And yeah, it gets 7 out of 10 from me. Good match, and I think that kind of creates extra intrigue factor. But yeah, not really sure what they'll do next. Dijak then cut a short promo telling Ilya that he was going to destroy him next week, and in the parking lot, Apollo Crews told Trick Williams that he had a bright future in NXT before Indy Hartwell came out next to talk about her experience from entering NXT leading up to now that she was headed to the main roster. Indy thanked the fans and said that starting next week there'll be a tournament to crown the next women's champion. She left us with some words of advice before leaving the title in the ring. As Indy was headed out, Dexter Lumis came out from under the ring and carried her away. After Indy was gone, Tiffany Stratton tried to swipe it, but Cora Jade grabbed it from her. The entire women's locker room showed up, and there was a huge bow to close out the show, obviously setting up for that. But yeah, really nice ending for Indy on NXT. Yeah, I don't know if she's injured or not. I think it seems like it, so maybe we won't see her on the main roster straight away. But yeah, nice setup for the women's tag team division, and yeah, lovely way to win with Dexter too. But overall this week, NXT gets a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Yeah, I thought it was on the whole a really, really good show this week, I have to say. Some really good moments in there, some weird booking decisions nonetheless, but on the whole some really good match action, and yeah, good chance to say goodbye to some of the NXT superstars from the last few years going to the main roster. But anyway guys, that's it really. Thanks so much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, no thoughts, comments on my phone show for daily wrestling news, subscribe to the channel, it's going to be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, peace.